Hello. This is the first devlog for the Class 1C fan video game Heroes Anthem. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Half-Blood, you announced this back in August. What are you doing? How's the development process going? And it's going fine. We figured out the combat system, and besides one or two bugs, we're moving on to the dialogue phase, where you'll be able to talk to characters and make choices that'll impact the outcome of the game. Before we get to that, I want to explain a little bit more about the combat. The combat in Heroes Anthem is all going to be point and click, meaning you should be able to play the entire combat section of the game with just your mouse. Additionally, there are also character classes that determine how the character attacks. Also, characters will have custom stats for movement, attack, defense, and may also have additional abilities based on their quirk. Right now, we're at the dialogue stage of development, which is where you're going to be able to make choices as a player that will impact the story and gameplay. I am using Game Maker Studio to develop this game, so it's not exactly modern game development technology. It takes a little bit of time for me to come up with fixes for problems I'm having. Right now, the dialogue is in a very early alpha stage, so we don't have anything prepared yet for it, but that's the next step. After that, we'll move on to exploration, menus, and items that you can give to players. And finally, after that, we'll move on to late stage development and player quality of life changes and bug fixes. Recently, we've had great success in implementing a custom health bar system, so you'll be able to keep track of your character's health as they take damage, and we've stopped making it universal across all the characters. Like with other games of the genre, there are important conditions to meet before you beat every level. So right now we're working on implementing various different kinds of solutions. Allow me to tell you a little bit about each of the classes we've developed so far. To start off, we have the melee build. This is going to be your Ichiros, your Shigarakis, people who are going to get up close, deal a whole bunch of damage, be on various levels of tanky, and perhaps apply some on-hit effects. Next, you have the range build. These are going to be characters who attack from a distance. This is going to be Homura with her chains, or Sutiko, who uses grappling hooks and drawn attacks. Next, we're going to have Kosuke, who's going to be a mage. These are sort of characters with a short to mid-range attack, but who specialize in providing effects or high damage. And finally, we have siege enemies. These are going to be things that can attack you from all the way across the map with low life points, but a set attack damage. So you'll need to take care of them before they start picking off your guys. It's also additional to note that once a character is knocked out of combat, they are unable to return. Meaning, if Kosuke, Homura, Ichiro, or any number of your allies get knocked down, they won't be back until the end of combat, or until you move on to the next room. We're running into a few problems with development, and that's really only because there's very little resources when it comes to a game like this. The developmental system is almost 10 years old, and it hasn't had a good update in a while. This is sort of my last hurrah on this system before I move on to Game Maker 2, which is much more recent. It also has much more resources. But at this point, it's too late to move back. So, As you know, the original plan for the project was simply to go up until the USJ of Class 1C arc. This is still the plan. However, going forward, it might be possible to increase the scope of the game. Also, if you're wondering what I'm doing in the background, I am actually creating and closing windows, but it does not pick up on the recording software because it's not the specified window. So I'm not insane. It's just not picking it up in OBS. What I'm working on right now is, of course, refining and coding the siege enemies. One or two bugs popped up, but it seems like the solution is going to be very easy to find. One final note before I wrap up, I want to give a big thanks to, of course, Class 1C, DM Man especially, for creating an awesome game that I can sort of base my game around. Additionally, I want to thank the players of Class 1D, who's sort of been like an inspiration. It really means a lot to play with them, and I hope you guys all check out our content sometimes. I also really want to thank the members of Team Weezer and also Team Tempest from the fan games, who sort of inspired me to start this project in the first place. In the future, I hope to establish a system of beta testers, hopefully from within the community, who might be willing to test out the game and find some bugs for me. I'm not looking for beta testers now, but I will make sure to reach out into the community when I am. Also, going forward, unless I become exceptionally busy, I plan on making devlogs at least once a month, at least once every 3 months. All right, that's all. Half-Blood signing off.